Well, hi again. My name is Luyanda Mndzebele, and I'm part of the Betterment Africa team as a global partnerships lead. And today we'll be having a session on common app essays, financial aid, and understanding what applying to universities in the US looks like as an international student. Just by show of hands or reactions, how many people here are interested in applying to the US? And how much do you know about the US already? Maybe if you just raise your hand and just react. Okay, we see it. There's Truman. There's yeah, I'm seeing only Truman. That's fine. It's okay if you have some knowledge about applying to the US or you have no knowledge at all. We'll just go through the session and I hope you will learn something. So this is a bit about me. My name is Luyanda Mndzebele. I'm from Eswatini. I am a United World Colleges graduate. I graduated in 2024. I was doing a program called IB, otherwise known as International Baccalaureate. It's a 2-year program similar to what you would know as A levels, and it equips young people with opportunities to study abroad, US or UK, whatever destination they go up to. And after I completed my UWC, that was me taking part in a gap year program in New York. That was in 2025. I had a great experience, and it's one of the opportunities I got because of UWC and applying for opportunities that are out there. You realize there are a lot of opportunities that exist. It's just a matter of you having faith and giving it your best so you get into them. And the last picture is a picture of me at the University of Buckingham, where I'm currently studying economics. The first slide addresses why you would want to study in the United States. The first reason is it offers like a holistic admissions process. That means they don't look at just your grades, they look at different facets of you. They look at what you will bring into the community, your lived experiences, and what other things you will bring as an applicant. So your service matters when you're applying to a US school. Your grades obviously matters. Your recommendations, they are very important because they get to see you through the lens of people who've experienced teaching you or being part of the same community that you are in. Another reason why some people might want to apply to the US is because there's strong financial aid at some universities. So some universities will offer you 100% financial aid. They will offer you stipend, living expenses, so they'll cover everything for you. So those are usually known as full ride scholarships. Another reason why you might want to study in the United States is because there are diverse academic and career opportunities. That means that after studying in the US, you have opportunities to go to different places. And doing an undergraduate degree in the US gives you a lot of chances to explore different facets of yourself. For example, in your first year, you do not have to commit to a certain course. So you can get into university not really knowing what you want to study. And it's not until your second year that you have to like commit to a certain major. So that gives you time to explore. Another advantage of studying in the US in terms of diverse academic and career opportunities is like you have a long summer break, around 4 months or so. And during that time, you can take part in different internships with different companies, such as different, depending on what you're studying. For example, if you're doing computer science or something related, you could have an internship at Google at any of those places. And later on, when you're done with the undergraduate degree, you can have better chances of getting an actual job there or even moving further to do a master's. So this was a picture that I attempted to create about applying to the United States. So the first thing is assessing yourself. So this takes into consideration thinking about at this point, are your grades reflecting what would be required in a US admissions process? Do you Also, do you have recommenders already? People who you know you will reach out to so they can do recommendations for you. So it's making sure that you have the infrastructure or support or system in place so that you can do your application. And then the other step that is very important is you do your research. So nowadays it's really good because there's a lot of information already available on the internet. So you can do a lot of research about the different universities you are interested in. And then after that, there's Common App. So Common App is a web page or web of some sort where you can find all most of the colleges that are in the United States, and you create an account on Common App. And one of the things that will happen as you go through Common App, you'll have your essays. It's where you'll be able to upload your essays and for your recommenders to upload their recommendation. Please note that when it comes to recommenders, they are the ones who upload the recommendation. You don't get to see it, so they send it via their own personal emails. And then another thing to know is CSS profile and ISFAS. So this is basically financial aid in the United States. So if you're applying to the United States and you'll not be able to fund your own education, you have the option to apply for financial aid through the CSS profile or ISFA, which are long forms that you will have to fill in. And in those forms, you fill in your financial history, your family income. Then the last stage of the US application journey, at least in this roadmap, is um, considering when you get your decision back and when you actually apply. So you can apply for studying in the US in different cycles. The first one is early decision, which has dates around deadlines around November or so. And then the regular decision would have deadlines in January, March. So if you apply early decision, you can get your admissions decision by December or earlier than you would get a regular decision. So regular decisions, you'll obtain them around March. And then there's another one that I have not included here, but there's also an option for you to apply on a rolling basis. That means you can apply to study in the US at a time that is non-traditional. So there are schools that have rolling application cycles. So you can submit your application even in May or in other times, but they're usually not the top schools that you would be interested in. So it's like different schools, smaller universities. Still a good option to apply for. So if there are students here who are applying to the US, I would really urge you to look for schools that have a rolling decisions that accept application even through the course of the year. So if you're not going to be applying for that, you can consider applying early action or regular decision when most applications open again in a couple of months' time. That would mean you would be accepted and potentially get financial aid to start university in the United States next year in spring, January or it's spring term, spring and winter term, which is January. Some schools have that option, not all of them, or you'd apply to start in September 2027. I'm not sure if the current mentees have are separated into undergraduate and graduate. Um, but if we have graduate and undergraduate in this room, it's great because I had created this for both parties. So the first part is application forms. If you're an undergraduate, you have to apply using Common App, another app called the Correlation app, or using the university website. Yet graduate students can use our university graduate school website. So you go straight to the university's website. You're not going through a or Common App. You go there. If you're interested, for example, in Harvard, you go to Harvard, then you go to graduate and you do the applications directly there. Then program selection, as I just mentioned a bit earlier, when you're applying to you as an undergraduate, you can go undecided. That means you haven't committed to any major yet. And then with graduate, it's different because you really have to have an understanding of what you want to study. And there's the tests required for undergraduate. There are tests such as SAT or ACT that would be required in your application. If you're applying to certain places, they might also need you to take language tests like IELTS and TOEFL. You can get waivers or be exempted from this if you communicate with your university well and you tell them that you've had your education in English all along, so you don't need to take English test. I believe you have a session at some point or a way in which you will learn more about SAT and ACT. But these are just enhancements to your grades. So sometimes if you have like a good SAT score, but your actual grade is not great, it might not work in your favor. So it's very important that you have like a strong grade and ACT or SAT if it's required. Some universities don't require it, so it really depends on where you're applying. And then that's the requirements for graduate apps. They can require GMAT, those exams, TOEFL. And then the main documents for an undergraduate applicant is high school transcripts, personal essay, and recommendation letters, whilst for a graduate applicant, it might be academic. It would be their transcripts as well, statement of purpose, recommendation letters, their resume, and motivation letter. Here's another interesting part of your undergraduate application would be the personal statement. So the focus of your personal statement as an undergraduate student has to be your personality, your interests, and your future goals. That means they want to know you as a person. What are the things that make you tick? What are the things that excite you? And how can you connect these things to a bigger purpose, whether it's trying to understand a different topic or different things around you. So I think the most important thing for your personal statement is to show curiosity and that you have an open-minded um, kind of approach to life. Plus, with your academic, your personal statement or your statement of purpose as a graduate student, you need to show your academic background, your research interests, and career goals. And this is probably because of the fact that when you're going in as a graduate student, you're going to be doing either research or TOEFL, and this has to be really something you're keen on doing, that you've shown at least some academic background in. It could be like your thesis or whatever that you do whilst you're doing your undergraduate. And then in terms of experience, as an undergraduate student, you will not require experience in the subject you're going to be studying at university. So if you want to do what course can you, for example, if you want to do economics, you don't need to have been a data analyst at Google at an NGO before coming, so you can come fresh. However, extracurriculars, they really help on your application. They don't have to be related to what you're going to study, but just having ways in which you can show that you have spent time doing stuff outside of the classroom, whether it's tutoring or it's helping out as a volunteer for an organization. It can make you a better applicant, especially when your academic, your profile is compared to another person with strong grades like you. So the extracurriculars can make you more interesting to the admissions officers. And then for graduate applicants, it often requires some academic work or research experience in the area that you'll be studying. Application timelines, as I just mentioned a bit earlier, for undergraduates, it's usually in different uh, terms. The first one is early decision. There's regular decision as well. Then there's early action. So those are some of the timelines you can apply with. At this point, I believe the option that is available is rolling applications, those universities that accept at any time of the year. but in a few months' time, you'll be able to apply early action and to apply regular decision for admission in 2027. For graduate students, the process is different. So most instances, you can apply for your graduate studies all year long. With undergraduate, when it comes to funding, it's usually limited and competitive. That is why they look at holistic admissions. They're considering you fully. Is this someone we would be willing to make a financial investment in? So things like what will you bring to the community? How will you use what you learn from here to make it better, to improve or become a better person where you're coming from. And then with funding for graduate students, they there is funding for masters and quite a lot of funding for PhD programs, depending on, of course, your field. There tends to be instances whereby certain fields get more funding than others. Nowadays, it would be AI, quantum computing, and all of those fields. They have like a lot of funding when it comes to graduate. Another thing to consider is admission. I believe I have mentioned this a bit, but your admission as an undergraduate student is based on your grades, activities, and your potential. So your potential ties back to what I said is like as an undergraduate student, you have to really show in your application that you're someone who's still learning. Oh, what happened? I'm sorry. I don't know why this decided to, because I didn't even touch. Okay. Oh, sorry guys. Just decided to jump. Yeah, so your admissions as an undergraduate student is based on your grades, activities, and potential. Alice, please don't laugh. So yeah, I decided to jump this tech. Anyways, and as a graduate student, it's based on your academic ability, specialization, and experience. So this is supposed to be the interesting part of the presentation where we do a common app illustration. So I will minimize, good, minimize, and then I'll go and we'll create a common app account together. This was on a scale of 1 to 5, how familiar are you with common app? And if you're able to share, I think we can do that after we've created the account together. So Alice, please kindly let me know if you are pro able to see this, like are you able to see my screen still?
Yes, you are typing on Google. You are searching something.
Yes.
Okay. The
Mm-hmm.
rest, can you see? Reactive, you can see. Yeah, we are all in the same on the same page.
That's great. So you go to Google. What do they call this?
Guys, I hope you are following. This is very important.
Mm-hmm. So on Google, you go common app. The first one that appears is the right one. The ones that appear, whatever, don't mind them. The first thing you find that appears is this page, which shows common app and what it offers. You can scroll down. It's a really great resource, and I believe most people who've applied to the US would have applied using this. I also applied to the US using Common App. So we go create an account because I believe most of us would be first year students at that time. We go first year student, and then we create an email. You use an email address. This is an email address I have that's kind of like then a password. So make sure you have a password you can remember. Shouldn't be simple. Oh, I often struggle with remembering. Who wants to help me create a password? I can create Truman. Let's see. Password would be Truman. 1, 2, 3, 4, and high exclamation mark. Truman. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exclamation mark. Are they matching? Okay, this remind me. My password is Truman1234 exclamation mark. And then we go, what best describes you? I am applying as a first year student and plan to start. Yes. Let's go start in 2025, 2026. I think that's good. Then my first name is Truman. Yes. Would you like to share a different first name that people call you? This is not very important, but you can um choose it. My last name is Jake. And then you go here, your date of birth. You can choose any day that you want. Of course, when you're applying, you'll choose your actual day of birth. Then your contact details. Um, you put in your contact details. Um, okay. Your permanent home address. Yeah. Any addresses. You're correct. When you're doing it, please make sure you you include factual information. In my case, I'm making some things up because I want you to see the process. Are you currently based? You go no if you're unless you are based there. Um, would you like to receive communications? Yes, it's fine. Some of their emails are helpful. Then you create your account. Yeah, if it's a, we send you. Apparently, there's an email address that already uses this one. I'm sorry. Let me try and use another email address, which I think doesn't doesn't have common app presence. It could have. Hmm. If this one could be on common app. Let's see, fingers crossed. Oh, what an interesting thing. So now I have to go. It's 86 copy. Then we go back to Luyanda and we verify. So they'll do the same thing with you. They'll send a code to your email address. So this is my dashboard. So it has you welcome Truman. And then the first thing is my common application. You create your profile. These are the first things you do once you get to your common app, create profile. Let's create a profile for Truman. We already have our name. Your middle name is Hannah. Family name, Jake. Do you have any materials under a formal legal name? Most of the case, you'll say no. And then, yeah. So let's see. You continue from here. You enter your address, contact information. Make sure that every time you're done with each section, let's see if we can get like a tick for any of them. Home. So that it shows that we are done. No. So no, I'll the alternates. Let's continue. Yes, you want to make sure that there's a green tick to indicate that you're done with the section. The rest is language. Those are straightforward questions I believe we should be able to answer. So your languages, if you know two languages such as Swahili and English, you enter here. If you know other languages such as French, you then state how much you know of that language. So here we'll select Swahili, and then first language, yes. And then this other language is English. You you can say speak, read, write, because that's how much you understand English. And then we continue. Geography and nationality. Which country were you born? We select in this case Kenya. Um, you go Mombasa, if Mombasa is a number of days, 0. Select your citizen status. Select. Hmm. So with this, why is it? Oh, you can ignore some of it's required. I think I did something. Let's say US citizen, US dual citizen, US permanent citizen. So you select citizen of
Is it
non-US.
because when you are indicating the address, you said you're in the US?
I think so, but I just realized that I select citizen of non-US country. That's fine. Because countries of citizenship, you go Kenya. Sorry, I hope you can still see my screen. Do you currently hold a US visa? Say no. Do you intend to apply for one? Yes, because you're coming to study there. Visa type that you apply for, if you're a student, you apply for F1. So make sure you select F1. And then common fee waiver. Did you meet one of the fee waiver requirements? You're enrolled in an eligible participate. You have received your annual family income. Your family receives public um, assistance. In this case, I would say, because there are some universities that you can apply to for free, and others whereby you need to pay. So I would say choose any of this. In this case, I'll just choose no. If you're part of this program, say yes, but if you're not, just choose no. It's not something that was going to determine whether you get accepted or not to a university. Then this is parental marital status. This is quite important because um, later on, so you probably say your parents are married. With whom you stay? Do you stay with both of them? None of them. Do you have any children? This is also important because then when you're applying for financial aid later, they'll be considered as your dependents, people who rely on you. So you say yes, then if you have them. And then if you don't, say no. Parent one type, you say you enter your parent details. The prefix, you probably go, if your parent is a doctor, you enter doctor. If they're not, enter Mr. or Mrs. Yeah, I believe this is straightforward. We can jump to the add your sibling information. You can say you have 0 siblings if you have 0. If you have any siblings, they'll probably ask you a few details like their name, their date of birth. Enter it. I cannot state why they want that information. However, it's important information. And then this is current or most recent high school. So this is the day when you started high school. If you're, okay, Kenyan, I would say this is the day you started Form 1. So you enter it just as you know it. Perhaps you started in, I don't know, 2023, January. You do that. Is this a boarding school? You know better. Yes. Do you live on campus? Did you live on campus? Were you a hostel student? did you or will you graduate from the school? If you've graduated and you're here and you graduated, just go yes. When did you graduate? That's the day when you left your school. You were complete, you had done your exams. Um, so in this case, I'll say 2026 February. This indicates have affected your progression. If you've had such circumstances in your life, you say perhaps you graduated late, and then you can explain if this was because you had to take a break from school due to school fees, so you spent like an extra year at school, in high school. So maybe in your 4 years you had an illness, then you had to like drop out at some point. You edit here. It's important additional information. And then other secondary high schools, have you attended just one secondary high school or have you attended another? So in some cases, you'll have attended one high school from Form 2 to Form 1 to Form 2, then 3 and 4, you attended another one. Or you completed Form 4 and then you finished and then you went to another form school, did Form 4. Or whatever fits your situation, you say perhaps zero, if that's you, you've just studied in one school all along. And then you go colleges and universities. If you have ever taken coursework at a college or university, please indicate the number of colleges. So I think this will apply to you if you've gone to different program at a university or a college and you've taken additional coursework in a college setting. I believe it's something that's common for some students in the US or these countries whereby they have summer breaks, and then during the summer break they can take a program at a university, so it gives them some kind of like credits. So if this doesn't apply for you, don't be afraid to just say zero or no. And then graduating class size, I believe this when I entered it, it's like the number of people who are in your class, like your total class. If you had form for A, B, C, D, so that's it. So from your school, how many people graduated? Say 200. And then the class rank reporting, I believe if you are, I believe I chose exact. So here, probably one. Okay, so here you would classify whether you're part of like the top 10, top 20. So it's your grade in relation to everyone else's grade in your graduating class. And then when it comes to, yeah, weighted or unweighted, this is required. You would say unweighted unless your school was working on like was using the kind of system they use in the US. Because this is a US that started in the US and focuses on US, so it would have some things which are not so straightforward for you. So you just go unweighted. And then GPA scale reporting, you choose none. You can choose none here unless your school was doing the GPA. So they have like a GPA, the highest GPA would be like a GPA of 5 or 4. If your school was not doing that, just go none. They'll understand. And then your cumulative GPA, you can attempt to do this. So if you go to grades converter or something on Google, then you convert your average grade. Let's see if you can do it together. Is an A minus in GPA. What is ACSE? By the way, I am from S13. I'm learning all of this from you guys. I believe, let's see. So AI gave you this. I would say check other sources too. But since we are doing an example, so they say a 4.0 is an A plane. I believe you call this A plane. And then an A minus would be around 3.7. Wait, and then we come back here, we go 3.7, but it's not required. Another thing is you can just leave this blank. And then in the section that I'll show you, you can decide, okay, I will now tell them why I left this blank because we are not using this. But if you can and you're able, go to Google, go to a right website, do the grade converter using your average grade. You continue unweighted. These are courses. I believe courses would be like the subjects you took. So how many subjects did you take? Did you take 6 subjects? Select the course scheduling system your institution is using. So how were courses being scheduled? So were you learning one subject for a whole year? You can say yearly. If your school was choosing subjects every term, perhaps this term you're learning chemistry, the next one you're learning something different. Go trimester, semester. So say this basically, I believe it's like the college system, whatever they use around here. But if you are learning the same subjects throughout the year, yearly I believe is fine. Then you go, which subject did you do here? Sometimes you'll go stroll down and you realize they don't have what you studied. So English, you've done it. You say cause one subject, probably called it English 2, and then cause one level, the level that you did. This would be mm, let's see if they have the option. In my case, I had done international baccalaureate, so I put IB. In your case, some people will have GCSE, gifted, high honors, intensive, international, pre-IB, regents. Yeah, let's see. Let's go Sage because I believe most people here will have what? And whenever you're doing your application, please don't be afraid of searching stuff if you're confused. Is KCSE considered to be in the this application system? Let's see if we can find. So it's equivalent of a US high school diploma. Did we see diploma here? Let's go. Regular, standard, advanced, college prep, gifted, high honors. There's no diploma here. I would say we go for regular, standard. And then in the section that I'll show you, you go into depth about what that means. As it's not an option that's offered here, KCSE. So you see there's reagents. Oh, you go non-applicable, but I wouldn't perhaps advise that. So in the additional information section, just going into that will help. So you continue doing this for the subjects that you did. And then do you wish to report any honors related to your academic achievements? Let's say yes. Honors one title. If you had any honors during your academic program, you go. Um, you don't understand anything, go to Google. So don't be scared of asking. So what counts as honors? So this would be the awards you received in your school, for example, for outstanding achievements. So these are academic or coursework-based honors, commutation or merit-based honors, leadership, student government president, awards for all state things. If this applies to you, please. If there's anything that doesn't apply, So yeah, please do make sure when you're doing your application to come to you go to Google if you don't understand anything, and you also approach your your mentor. So these are some examples of how you would enter that section. Since we are doing an example, I'll copy this one and paste it there and say it's the award that I received. But this would be something like this. Um, so where you be on the top students list, if there was a recognition for it, you do that. So this is really detailed because it goes Eagle Scout Gold Award. It has a number. So 100 plus service hours, grade 12. If you did that, or you could say Form 4 in your case. If you didn't, don't 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 pressure yourself. Okay, let's go back. Why am I not able to paste? Because I copied. So this is my honors, my fake honors. When did I get this? I would say I got it like in grade 11. So I believe you're also able to convert Form 4 in your case to grade system. What grade would it be? Because I believe we did grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. So you guys know better whether Form 4 is grade 10, 11, or 12 if you're doing it in terms of that kind of counting. And then you state your honors level. Was it like national, international, school? And please, if you don't have any honors, don't frustrate yourself and want to make up stuff. And if you have one, if it is just one, just do the one. So if you don't, just go no. Don't frustrate yourself because sometimes realize that the admissions process being holistic means that you can't really know, really, you cannot have full certainty about what kind of candidates they're looking for. You'll have people who've done so many things, have top grades, have good SAT scores, and they still get rejected. So don't get intimidated or feel like you're not good enough of an applicant just because you haven't uh, won the silver or the gold medal for rescuing a cat from a tree in your community or something like that. You don't have to just frustrate yourself over that. You're already a good candidate as long as you can write a strong personal essay, get good recommendation letters, and also show in your application that you are someone who's willing to learn. Indicate the number of programs in it that have provided you with free assistance. So if you've received any free assistance, you could go one. If you didn't receive from any of those organizations, always just scroll down, go other, and then specify other organization. Could be BMA if you've received free application help with or so. And then if you received like mentorship from someone, counsel, mentor, advisor, if you have a mentor, you could enter their name here. They could be a Miss, Mr. I don't know what MX stand for, but I believe it's additional titles. So yeah, you enter their details here. This is the person who supported you. I believe they would reach out to them. I didn't enter anyone when I was doing my application because I was doing it mostly by myself. But I believe this would help maybe if they want someone to reach out to ask about you. Maybe they're considering you and they're like, this student is interesting. Maybe let's reach out to their mentor. Yeah, this is future plan. What this describes you, in my case, I'm applying to start college in 2026, or I'm planning to start in 2027, 2028, beyond. The highest degree intend to earn. I'm not sure how this really matters to them. However, you could just say at the end of the day, you want a doctorate in your life. And in which career do you want? In my case, I want to be an actress, So let's go. Test taken. So have you taken these things? Have you taken IB, Cambridge, what? Duolingo? You can say no. If you've taken them, yes. So in this case, I'll say no. And promotion is promotion within your educational system based upon standard living examination given at the end of law. So this is such a long sentence. Is promotion within your educational system based upon standard living examination given at the end of law? Promotion to where? So in this case, they said US would answer no. Mm. So you probably go yes. Senior secondary living examinations. Okay, this is the one, the examination KCSE. Let's see if you can find your board here. I'm certain you can find it. There are quite a number. If it's not like on this list, you always go other. So yeah, you go for yes over on the section before. Mm. Oh, they actually have it. That's nice. They have KCSE. Is everyone here from Kenya? Because I'm just assuming everyone here is from Kenya. So you say the academic subjects. So you have done a lot of subjects in this case, and they have a section to enter one subject. I believe here you can enter the subjects that you are most comfortable entering. So maybe you can enter math, and then you got an A plus, or an A minus, or an A plane, or B plus. And yes, when did you take these exams? Oh, the number of living high school living examinations. So in this case, you don't select one. You'll select the number of examinations that you took. You remember there was a section whereby we had to enter courses. Um, we might have to revisit that section. I'm sure we didn't enter grades then. But yeah, you took how many exams, then this will allow you to share the scores for each of the exams that you took. So this is where you shine and you show your grades. You know them better than I do. So if it's math, you even have the opportunity to write the name of the subjects just as you know it at home. And you say, if you, those are like your final KCC results, you go actual everything. And then another thing to address is that your counselor, what's it called? Your counselor or your, what is it? Your school principal or deputies, the person who's responsible for usually helping students with applying to university in your school. They are the ones who upload your transcript, not you. You, in Common App at least, you're not able to upload your transcripts as a candidate unless there are exceptional circumstances. However, your teacher will have to do it for you. Your counselor will have to do it for you. And then activities. This is activities section. Do you have any activities that you wish to report? I think this is even better than looking at the slides because you're looking at this real time. Great. Do you have any activities that you wish to report? Yes, I have activities. I don't, so in the case that you have no activities to report, I I cannot confidently say if you have zero activities, you have a chances your application becomes is not as strong, I believe. But if you have none, be honest. So if you have activities to report, you go activity type, you go academic. If you're academic, the most popular one is that you're class monitor, you're the head girly. What is it called? Head head girl. Whatever that is. Organization name, it's your name of your school. So if it was you went to Meru High School, That's it. So as a head girl, perhaps you managed to implement some. It has to be facts because I'm not making things up in my head. I perhaps as a head girl, I led. You have to be specific. Yeah, forgive me for because this doesn't make a lot of sense, but it usually helps when your activity has a specific number of people you impacted and then time frame. So it could be hours, it could be years or so. So another thing, when you're doing your activities section, what I would recommend for you is to watch one or two YouTube videos that shows how to best answer an activities section on Common App, how you make your activities straightforward, also like as detailed as possible. And then here you choose when you participated in this activity. Did you do it like throughout your high school? And did you do it like on holidays or not? An hour spent a week, you'd say 5 weeks spent a year. I believe this doesn't have to be 1000% accurate. You could just really think about, okay, so did I spend like 15 hours or 15 weeks per year doing this or less? Another thing that would really help you is to tie a recommendation with your activities section. So if you can tell a person recommending you about the activities you entered here and the ones that you did, it can really strengthen your application because then it has more credibility. Someone else, if it's mostly if it's like an academic activity and you get recommended to also mention it in the recommendation letter and it's also here, that's like also saying, okay, you are not just making stuff up. And then another activity that you could select is I'm looking for community. Oh, did you have a club at school that you were part of? What was your position? You could have been a member, but if you're a member who did something substantial in that team, just um, mention it. Community service, here's the most common one. What were you? You're a volunteer. Don't be ashamed of saying that you're a volunteer. And the organization name, Go Young Heroes. And what did you do? You organized, you helped, or, assisted with fundraising campaign, sold 100 leaflets at your, oh my God. Mm, so this could be like an activity. If you volunteered, what did you do? You assisted with, sorry guys, assisted with this fundraising campaign and you sold this much leaflets, raising 1,000 Kenyan shillings for charity. So the most important thing is your activity description. It should be specific. If it has numbers, even better. So you choose when you did it. It doesn't have to be something you did during school years. You spent maybe 1 hour doing it or so. Then you can add another activity. And then in a case whereby your activity, for example, was like Family responsibilities, those are very important. So add another activity. Our activity number three is the family responsibility. Position elder sister. That's it. What? Then you go family. They consider them. I was shocked when I listened to an admission counselor and they said this is another section they considered. What did you do? You were babysitting your three, oh my God, you say my 3-year old sibling. Were you helping out with kids, with your younger siblings at home? For how long? 3 years, saving, um, parents, daycare costs. This could be a family responsibility. However, they tend to be really diverse. So that's why I'm also saying if you're able, try and just if you have family responsibilities that you think would be substantial to your application, this one, if you're like helping out with taking care of your children, if you're taking care of your parent or sibling who's not well, mention it here because that means it's an activity, it's leadership. You care about someone who's not okay, you have empathy. So make sure this is a chance for you to show that you're a person really invested. So it doesn't have to be someone from outside. You say you have these siblings who have this trouble, who have this challenge, you've been tutoring them. If you've been tutoring your siblings, helping them study for school, mention it here. It's an activity. So I believe no activity is more important than another one. So yeah, enter your activities here. Enter your hobbies if you have them. So there's a section, there's a drop down option to enter your hobbies. Where is it? Where is it? Where? But yeah, if you've done all the other things, enter them too. Okay, I can't see the hobbies section. But I believe 3 activities is enough. You don't want to have 10 activities and all of them are shallow. It's better to have less, but having invested time into those activities. So don't worry about having a lot. If you can have 3, that's fine. Continue. If you have more, great. But it doesn't mean you become more impulsive just because you have 20 activities whereby you just spend 30 minutes in each. And then responsibilities and circumstances. Here's the section that I was um, referring to that also matters. So it's like assisting family or household members with tasks such as doctor's appointment, bank visit. If you've done this, for example, it could be like your parents don't understand English. So you're like the one who has to help them understand these things. Mention it because that means you are contributing to your community. So farm work or unpaid work for a family business. Does your family have a shop whereby you have to go on Saturdays and be on that till and they don't pay you? Refer to that you're helping out at home, obviously. Yeah, translating, very important. Have you been taking care? So make sure you enter things that are true. If it's none of the above, that's okay. You go none of the above. So this is the holistic application aspect. So they want to understand you. Have you been, because this things such as the things below, they could have affected your grades even. So if they say this person, despite all these challenges, still managed to get good grades, they'll have an understanding, even if you were a student who doesn't have much activities. Because for you, it's just like if you're commuting 60 minutes, perhaps you're not even driving or using a bus. It wouldn't make much sense for you to be involved in 10 activities at school because now you have to rush back home. You have these responsibilities. So just take those things into consideration as you're applying that they're not looking for the perfect candidate. They're just looking for someone who's well-rounded. Have you experienced homelessness? Have you lived without consistent? You can say if you've had trouble with internet. Let's go. Then we continue. Mm. because we have not added any universities on our dashboard, we will go add them. And then you go, I understand, you read and understand. You don't understand before reading. So the essay, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every time there'll be 7 prompts offered by Common App for you to write your essay, the personal essay. This is like the essay they read. Um, to have a full understanding of you, the maximum number of words is 650. Very important. If you write 700, yet they say it's 650, you've already applied for rejection. Anyways, this will not allow you to enter more than 650. So it will just go red if you enter more than 650. So I would say this one is usually a good prompt, which is like some students have a background, identity, or interest or talent. So if you have like an interest that you have hid, for example, you're like, um, this is cliche, but you're like a young girl who's grown up in a community and you've not seen a lot of young women interested in computers or STEM, and now you're like, you want to be that role model for them to show them that there are more opportunities for women, for young girls in these careers. Yeah, so you write this one. You write, use this first prompt. It's kind of like more open, so it allows you to really write about anything. Or you have dogs at home, your favorite pet. You could talk about the lessons you've learned from your favorite pet or the things you've. Yeah, this one, the background, identity, and interest tends to be a good one. And then there's other prompts which like the lesson we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Yeah, this one is also good. Like it's really reflective. So recount the time you faced a challenge or setback or failure. I would say you can choose this one, but you should avoid the temptation to read to list 5 times you've had a challenge. So if the setback or challenge was, for example, a time whereby you were in school. What challenge could you face? Perhaps you were in school and you came to school hungry every day and you couldn't tell anyone about that. And there was, I don't know, maybe there was no food at home, but you still managed to come in school. You could recount a really specific time when that happened and the challenges surrounding that specific event. Or maybe you failed in a certain subject, you got a really low grade. Now it was really affecting your how your confidence and all of that. Mention it, but make sure that you focus on the reflection. Don't make it too descriptive. So here you should, of course, tell what happened, unpack how it happened, and then how it affected you, and what did you learn from the experience. So yeah, it could be one experience. I believe you know yourself better than I would ever know. But yeah, you can choose that one. So yeah, this is another good one. Reflect on the time you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. That's good. You can think, was there a time you had a belief that something was like this now? This can really be a good essay for you to show that you're inquisitive, you analytic and whatever, but make sure you choose the prompts that you're most comfortable with, not the one you think the admission officer would enjoy reading or let you think like, this will make me sound smart." That's the main motivation for you to choose a prompt. Don't do that. Do one with just choose a prompt which just resonates with you. You're like, okay. You see the prompts that I would not encourage you to to do is the last one. Because in most instances, when you choose this one, you can lose focus. So you realize, unless you're really good at writing, because you probably have some essay writing background, and you can put it off, it's best to stick with any one of the 6 prompts above when you're doing your writing. So yeah, 6 is also nice. So if like, is there an idea? Was it music or whatever that really just like captivates you. You can go on. I think it's really nice. It's a really good essay. And what you're doing when you're writing your essay, you're answering those questions, but you're not going, the topic or idea that motivates me is the movement of ants from Egypt to China. This captivates me because it's amazing to think about how ants can move from one place to another. And then you go, oh, that is why I'm reaching out to who and who to learn this. And it should be a story. Shouldn't those questions are to guide you. You can answer all of them, or you can answer most of them, but through your story. So don't box yourself. The most interesting stories sound very natural. This is just like guidelines. So it's like these are probably like the questions you need to ask yourself once you're done reading your essay. You write it first. You choose a prompt and you're like, okay, to write something along these lines. You make a title of your own. These are not titles. So it's like students have background identity. This a title for this could be mm, my my laptop, the pink laptop, for example. Then you write right side. Or it could be the guava tree behind my house or something like that. So you come up with a title yourself and then you write that story without looking at these questions. And then once you're done writing it, you come back and look at the questions on the prompt you've selected. And that will help you. Like, okay, am I finding answers to any of this in my essay? If you're not, you think about how you could incorporate this into your essay. But the first draft shouldn't be you answering these questions, or else you have a very boring essay. That's not memorable because you want your essay to be something they remember. So that means your essay shouldn't be too much fluff. Like it shouldn't be like a lot of things. You shouldn't overwhelm the reader because they're also a person like you. And it's in our day, it's so difficult to get someone's attention. So you want to write an essay which will not tire them. An essay whereby they'll want to continue reading. I believe at some point, I hope I'm not taking too long, Alice.
No,
We'll briefly go over like the essays and look at essays that are good. So don't worry about that. I just want to go through the prompts with you guys. I didn't do it with the mentees last time, but I think it's something that's valuable. Just a few suggestions about how to go about choosing the right prompt and doing that. So I hope that's helpful. Um, Additional information section is your time to shine again. You go yes. I would recommend you go yes. Leave. Provide. So, if you would like to share any additional details or qualification not reflected in this application, do it. If you've been online and you've taken like a course or something that you think it like shows that you take initiative, include it here. If you have like anything that you've started and that you feel didn't fit into the other sections, that's another thing. When you're writing your personal essay, you can be tempted to write about 10,000 impressive things you have done. No, the personal essay should try as best as it can to focus on one thing and then expand on it. And then now, all the other things that you wanted to say, things you wanted them to know, like how you persevered, how you were this way or that way at school, and you just like, this is something they should know about me. Like, this is what sets me apart. These are the sections to do it. Yeah, come, you write. I was consistently top in maths, consistently top in English, da, da, da. All of the other things you are not able to fit into other sections, you come and write them. Yeah. It's not a lot of words. You use them well because here's like 300 words, here's 250, but if you add them, 250 plus 300, almost 600, so over 500. So you then have the ability to describe the challenges, describe them well. So yeah, describe your challenges here that you've had in your education, if any, or circumstances that have impacted you. If you've had mental health challenges while studying, this is your time to shine, or anything like that. So use this section. Well, use it to your advantage. Hmm. The colleges on my course do not require. Okay, this is something that's really dependent. The courses they're referring to, because you've already entered your grades. These are courses such as your SAT or your whatnot. So let's go to dashboard and add universities. So we go search colleges and then we go which college? We add the ones that we see. You can add the ones that you want to add. So in this case, because some of you're applying at this stage, you can go to Google and look for universities that have rolling applications. If you are hoping or planning to start this year, I don't know how feasible that is to start like in September 2026. But yeah, you can go to Google and look for those universities and enter them here. So we add here the universities that I'm seeing because I'm a bit lazy to add to come up with university names, but I'm adding these ones. You can add as many as you want. However, it's really important that you focus on quality than quantity in your application. So you have to strike a balance between schools you qualify for. Those are called rich schools. Those are schools whereby you like, I have the grades for them. My profile fits the school. And then back to your essay again. Remember when you're doing your essay here, it's not supposed to be an essay that's catered to one school. It's more like a general essay, as everything else in your common app application. It's not like in that essay you write now you want to get into University of Pennsylvania, yet there'll be Georgia and whatnot looking at your essay. If they see that you have a preference for one school and not for them, of course they will not choose you. Um, so we go again to my colleges. These are the colleges that I've added. So yeah. Ooh, for example, this university that I selected, it has a rolling admission. That means if you guys are interested in this university, you can apply to it. It's I can't say the name. It's a bar. Yeah, this university. It has a first year international fee of £20, of 20 US dollars. So with this international fee, you can try and see if you can send admissions an email and ask them how to go about getting a fee waiver. And then if they recommend you do like the fee waiver application process on Common App, that's good. So you can apply. If you're able to afford, you pay your 20 USD and you go ahead. So they have Common App essay. You'll find that most of the universities we are applying to will require college information. They require oh, these are actually good universities. They all have rolling admissions. So you can apply to them even now. They'll give you a decision. So going to a general, yeah, they'll have general. STEM, say you want to start this year, rolling, because that's the only option you have right now. So rolling. You don't have early action, just as I might have let you know. Then academics. What is your preferred academic program? This is not do like matter of death, life and death. You just go anything that you feel like at this point. You can change your mind first week or whatever once you get to university. So we go accounting and finance because it's the first one. So this is including foundation year. Why does it want us to include foundation year? Because most foundation year is like a year if your qualifications are not good enough for first year, you go via foundation year. So I would encourage that you go with the options that do not have foundation year. especially if you're applying for scholarship. But you can go with the option with foundation, yeah. But if your grades are already good, you don't want to spend 5 years doing a degree that you could do in 4 years. So let's see. The writing. This my abar. If you guys are interested in this university, you should look it up because it's still accepting applications. Write an email to admissions if you're not able to pay the admission fee and tell them how can I go about getting a fee waiver. This one requires your Common App essay. On top of the Common App essay, it has this writing. Why would you like to study in Wales? Hmm. Okay, so this is the UK. I'm sorry, guys. Hmm. So why would you like to study in Wales? And B, why have you chosen your degree stream? So this is not in the US, guys. This is in the UK. They don't have scholarships here, so I wouldn't recommend it. But in this case, even for a university in the US, because I'm certain we have Alabama is in the US, we'll just go to Alabama after this. In this essay, you go to the university website, you read student testimonials, if they are, you read student life or programs or professors or whatever. And then now having that information, you connect your experience to what you found on their website and you write this essay. Because this one is them asking you, why us? Of all the universities you could have gone to, why? Why are you choosing us? Um, this one, May 29th, if you're interested, this is the US. This is the USA. I'm so sorry about the last one. I hadn't figured out that it's not the US. So this one has rolling admissions, I believe, till the 29th of May, which is in a few days. And look at it, guys. If you're interested in Alabama, it doesn't have an application fee, even for international students. So you can include it in your list right now if you're applying. Alabama State University. Give it a go. They have no application fee and they don't really require you to have SATs. This one's their full package. And then accepted English test. Since you have studied in English, this must not really apply to you. And then you go, okay, I like Alabama because they're not confusing your life. Have you applied? No. What is your coming freshman? You go fall 2026. Would you like to start? Okay, fall 2026 is the only option because this is already admission plan, rolling decision, your phone numbers. You enter your phone number, social security number, no dashes. Hmm. So a social security number is actually for US student. I would say at this point, if they ask you for social security number, you can enter like your ID number. But in this case, it's not required. So if it's required, you'll see that the red thing, the asterisk, then that's something that's required. So this one is not required. Just don't enter it because you're not from the US. And then academics. What is your preferred learning format? Of course, you want to come to the US in person. You want to study. Choose any, you can choose anything. If you feel drawn to art, choose art. But I'm so happy that this university doesn't require an application fee and it's still open for you guys to apply if you and it's you still be fresh from this Common App session. I would say go for it. Even if it's not your top choice. This is your mobile number. Enter it, the name, the way you do it. So it's 254. Yeah. Family, do you have family members? If you do, enter. If you don't um enter anything. So the nice thing is like they don't even require you. No, they don't even require you. Alaska. Additional information. What is your military status? No military status unless you have it. Have you been convicted? They'll ask you those questions. Make sure you tell the truth. Have you been convicted of charges? No. If you are, say yes. Are you a first generation student? I'm certain everyone here knows what a first generation student might be, but basically it's like you're the first one from your family to go to university, I believe. You say no if you are not. If this applies to you, say yes. Yes. Very important. Do you intend to apply for financial aid? Yes. Will you be applying for scholarship? What do you mean? Will you be applying for scholarship? In this case, if so, please note that test scores are required to be considered for scholarships. So what do they mean? Let's say yes. Test scores for like the SATs and all of that. So they might require you to have SATs or ACT to be considered for financial aid in this specific university. I would say even if you don't have that, apply. Apply. Do it for the exposure and also do it because you never know. They might say they require this and still accept you if you don't have them. If you do. And then here, mm, did I not? So this is a section, recommenders. Okay, they want me to go this because I want us to go to the section for recommenders. That would be like the last section. Where is it? Where is it? They said I should go to my high school section. Um, homeschool. I don't see. Why is my high school not here? I'm trying to find a high school that will not stress us. So I just like find it quickly. Continue. Select. Continue. Great. This is the name of the high school we are selecting. Yes. Good. Now we go to dashboard, my colleges. We have Alabama. Alabama is the one we are running with right now. So we have this section. Perfect. So after you finish entering information about your school, most of the time, if you've not studied in an international school, the information at your school will not be available there. You'll have to edit manually, which is fine. You just edit manually, you add your school address, your school code, zip code. Like, yeah, so don't stress about that. And then here you go. Mm. Okay, so you can go complete. Yes, you read before you say continue, please. Acknowledge. I waive my right to review or comment. Yes, so this is very important. Back to what I said, you are not going to be able to see your recommendation letter. You are not supposed to, but in some cases you see it's depending on your relationship with the person recommending you. Um, but so means I waive my right. It means I let go of my right to review my recommendation and supporting documents. I understand that my waiver, you go signature. In my case, since I'm Truman, Jake, I'll go TJ. I'll enter my full name. And then this is like the date when I'm deciding to make this decision. So today is 21st May 2026. Then I save and close. This is like button section. Remember, I told you you are not uploading your grades by yourself. Your deputy, your school teacher, whoever in your previous academic institution is helping you with application, they'll have to be the one. And make sure that the person who's like a recommender and the person who's a counselor, if it's possible, make them different people. So you invite recommenders. So invite recommender. So it's like, are you inviting you? Let's invite teacher. Let's invite my teacher. We include their email address here. I don't want to get emails from someone app. Choose. This is my play email. And then they taught me English. They are Mr. Brian, Otieno. Um, would you like the teacher to complete an evaluation? Yes. I want us now to go to my dummy email and see the email that your recommender will see, your teacher will see. Do not come to you. Let's go, yes. Let's invite them and then we'll go to my email and see what I have received. This is what your teacher will receive. Then we'll come back here. Is it? No, it's visa. Uh-huh. So this is what your teacher will get. Truman Jake requests your recommendation. Hello, Brian. Truman Jake has asked for your support with their college application as their teacher. Recommendation letters and forms play an important role in application process. Thank you for taking time to provide insight into the students' strengths. So this is their name, email address. That's my email address. It's Truman's email address. So this is what you do as a teacher. You activate your account, create a password. Yeah. I enter the same password as before. I just want you to have an understanding of what your teacher or yeah will have. So it's Truman, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are they matching? Okay, they match. Are you currently based in European? No. So now when your recommenders are asking you, is this complicated? It's not. You go, no thanks. Student's name, Truman. So there will be a record showing your name. So your teacher selects Truman Jake. And then, okay, please complete your profile. So I choose my name is Mr. And then I enter my number as your recommender. If I have this, enter it. My email is not required. Is it? School details. Yes, you say that you're a high school teacher. Then your teacher will also have to do the same thing. If your school is not findable here, they'll need to do what you will do is like add the things manually. Do you complete applicants' academic ratings on common? Do you complete? Yeah, like go to my students. Um, okay, they select you that you're the student. I've been speaking for such a long time. Um, yes, they say this is the university you're applying for. No new updates. Then you start your teacher evaluation. What did you teach them? This has to be matching. Very important. I taught you English. Continue. Academic achievements. There's what you've said about yourself. Now your teacher. You like an excellent student. I would say Truman is excellent. Intellectual promise. This is like your teacher promising that you get to university and do better. Maybe you say, yeah. Most of the time, yeah. Quality of writing. Your teacher has read your work a lot of time. So you go, excellent. Creative thoughts. So this is what your teacher will be asked. If possible, for you guys, because some teachers might not be familiar with this, just go to them in person and you guys can do this together. Okay, obviously this they wouldn't show you, but just be together in person. I think that would help because yeah, some teachers would be like, it's like such a lot of work, but if you're together in person, like, please, can I just have 1 hour with you? And it's just them filling in this section. Maturity, they're even asking your teacher if you are mature. You go average, below average. So now, this is when your good behavior in school is paying off or paying out. So your motivation. Yeah, leadership. Your teacher has so many questions I didn't know, like literally so many questions. Should become a teacher. Self-confidence, initiative, overall evaluation. I would say that you're an outstanding student. Your teacher has quite a bit of work, so it's why that's the reason why it's so important to have a good relationship with your recommenders, but also not to rush them because this is a lot, especially for someone who has a full-time job and probably doing it for more than one student. This is written evaluation. Your responses are all accommodated for this reason. How long have you known this applicant and in what context? This has 1,000 words. Your teacher. So if they can try and reach 250, that would be beautiful. Because if it's like just like, ah, I have known woman for 5 years and he is a good student. And your teacher ends there. Rest assured, this is not a strong recommendation. So, how long have you known the students? They have to go and bet. I met Truman this date, da da da, on 23 January, what. Maybe even not specific dates, but just really a bit more detail. Um, so these are the questions your recommender is getting. What are the first words that came to your mind to describe the students? Also 1,000 words. Um, If I say Truman is a hardworking student, for example, going to date, he started the first term of Form 4 with below average grades in English. I forgive my spelling. I saw him struggle in class. However, he took initiative by raising hand and answering questions. He also approached me for feedback several times, showing his determination in improving. The way we are so used to these things that correct us in improving grades, in improving his grades, his, sorry guys, improving. In improving his grades. So yeah, this is what a detailed recommendation would look like. So he's going beyond just saying you're hardworking, but showing how you have done all these things. So yeah, so you can take if it's known you throughout your high school grade. List the courses that you have taught the student. They have to list that. Yeah, it's quite a bit of work. So that's why you have to tell your commender early. So they have a document describing the student. So yeah, I just wanted you to see what your recommender will be going through or has to provide in order for your application to be stronger. There's an option to add invites other recommender. So another recommender could be a peer, could be a family member. I believe in our case as BMA mentees, it could be your mentor. If you feel like you've established a good enough relationship for your mentor, with your mentor, sorry. If you feel like you've established a good enough relationship with your mentor over the time that you guys have had conversations, they could be another person to submit a recommendation for you. And you have a bit of control over that one because they met you recently. And what they know about you is probably what you tell them, what you don't tell them. This one is more optional. You can invite an advisor, or you can choose not to. The most important one is teachers. If you cannot, if you get two teachers, great. If you get one, but two is usually like good. And then this person called the counselor. This one will be the one to upload your transcripts. So this could be that it could be if it happens, it could be the same person who's your teacher. So it's whoever really wants to do it for you. But best if you have like a counselor at school that's designated for this, great. If you don't, it can be your deputy head teacher if there's principal, but it really helps if it's somebody who ranks highly there. But if you're not able to have that option, it could be just your teacher. Career guidance teacher. Oh, I feel like we've gone through like once you've completed all of this, you can submit your application. Since in Alabama we don't pay application fee. Once you've completed all of these things properly, in the interest of time, we'll not do. Which section was missing? Family. Do you want to see how it looks like when you're submitting? No. If this give us a tick. Oh, why is this not giving us a tick? Because we have not invited a counselor. But yeah, I think this is quite straightforward. When you have all these ticks, means you've done all of the sections, you have this tick as well. You just go submit, you're done with, and then you send to Alabama University. Yeah, at that point you're done with your Common App essay and everything you send to Alabama. But if it's like a really in detail demonstration of like I'll run through the rest of my presentation. Whew, I'm a bit tired, but that was Common App. I hope it's helpful. Please revisit the video and watch it again to see what you to what is it called to refresh your memory. Um, so this is about what colleges want from your essays. Your colleges want your voice, not perfection. They want you to show and do not tell. I believe the last time when I was talking about showing and not tell, I made an example of something. For example, you say, I love music. That's telling. But if you say, I have listened to Tony Braxton lyrics from the time I was in secondary school or primary school, I found it fascinating how she uses sound, melody to create deep, to create an experience, an unmatched experience for the listener. That way you are showing and not telling. And with this regard, please feel free to ask me questions in the Q&A, because I think it can feel really frustrating sometimes as a student to think about how can I show and not tell. It's because sometimes it feels like it's the same thing, showing and telling feels the same thing. But the moment you are starting to list things, know very well that you are telling, you are not showing. And then a very important aspect of your application is showing your growth, your values, and your resilience. That means you're showing how you've been evolving over time, like what has been happening. So you'll see, like, even the essay I was writing as a pretend teacher, it's like I said, Truman is a hardworking student. When did I encounter Truman? And What have I seen with him? He didn't do well when he came. What did he do? He raised his hands in class. He asked for feedback. And over time, I've seen his grades improved. And now he's one, I was going to end up saying now he's one of the top students in the class because of his dedication. And I see him now helping others. What is that? That whole food chain, its growth is actually showing that this one started from here, they are here now. That's very important in your essay. Showing your values, you beyond saying you have empathy or you have confidence, what are the things you've done to show that you have confidence? It's your essay about your dog. Did you like stand up for in the face of injustice? That's you showing confidence and not telling us you have confidence. So it's very important for you to have specific stories. You know, you'll be tempted to use flabbergasted and what and gregarious and whatnot, those words for the first time in your essay. Don't do it. Like resist the temptation to impress in your essay. Just resist it, please. Write the story as natural as it would be. I think it helps for you to write your common ethel essay several times and to read it out loud. The moment you read out loud and you ask yourself, does this sound like me? If you have friends and you're like, my friends, I'm writing this essay for Common App. Hey, please, can I read it for you? Then they'll tell you, they'll ask you. And if your friends are like, yeah, that is not you. But if your friends are like, oh, okay, that's actually you. So sometimes some of the things you can do in your essays is like, perhaps if you have friends, you just ask them, different friends, please describe me in 3 words. Another one describes you in 3 words. Ask them to describe you in 3 words and say why. They say that you are kind. You are kind because you do this, kind because you do that, or you're funny because you did that. And then you can collect those reflections from your friends and then make a common essay out of them. That would be great because the essay is supposed to be about you. It's not supposed to be about your grandmother who passed on 5 years ago or your favorite teacher. It's the moment your essay is about another person, it's no longer about you and it defeats the whole purpose. So if you can get those people to tell you what they think about you, if you need that kind of inspiration for your essay, do it. And then send the essay also to those people who know you. It's good to have your mentor, yes. But if you have someone who knows you, ask them, please, does this essay sound like me? Or does it sound like a person who doesn't exist, who wants to be me? So that's very important. Um, Another thing you have to do is like your essay is not the opportunity to say that you've had like the worst life on earth. Like life has been serving you lemons. However, you can say life served you lemons and you made lemonade. That becomes better rather than you just saying, oh my God, I've had the most difficult life and all of that. This some admissions officers will find that as a turn off because it's also a cliche. Um, like some students, most students will be writing about trauma. You're not really, the whole idea of your essay is not to evoke PT. It's actually to say, this is what I've gone through despite this. So that doesn't mean you don't include your challenges. You include them, but they're not the main focus. You're like, okay, I've gone through this. This is what I did about it. And this is where I am right now. And this is where I see myself in the future. So that's very important. I had like examples of of like good essays and bad essays here. However, in the interest of time, I will share them with hopefully with Alice. I don't know if I'm in the same group as everyone here, and then I could just share them with you and you can go through them in your spare time. Um, this was differentiating between financial aid and admissions. Financial aid is admissions like, do they want you to be part of this university? Financial aid is, can they fund you? Admissions is based on holistic overview, whilst financial aid is based on family income. Admissions is based on, as an undergraduate, at least it's based on Common App, and financial aid is based on CSS profile or school forms. So the CSS profile, you can find it Online. Yes, you just go on Google CSS profile. And then it will depend, reject option. When you're submitting your application, for example, for Alabama, because you've indicated that you want financial aid, they'll have like an email or prompts further for you to start the financial aid section of the application. They'll say, okay, do they prefer CSS profile or do they prefer the other thing? So when you're coming to CSS for the first time, you create, in my case, I already have a CSS profile. In your case, you would have to create a profile. Yes. You you do your own. You create an account, a user account. It's straightforward, more like Common App, so don't worry. So your university will tell you whether they prefer this or they prefer IFSA. And it's a form, very straightforward form, but long. It asks you your household income, household expenses, the number of siblings you have, what kind of schools do they go to? Excuse me. So it's really and you entering your personal information to help um the admission the financial aid people. So need blind means that when they're looking at your application, they don't consider the fact that you've said you want financial aid. And then neither way, a university that will look at the fact that you said you want financial aid when admitting you. So sometimes the fact that you've said financial aid might affect whether you get admitted or you don't. And then so another way are those that are they consider that you ask for financial aid, but they're generous, so that would not really affect whether you're admitted. Then there are universities that have limited aid, others that don't have aid at all. So once you're doing your university stage, on top of rolling or whatever that you're looking at, also look, is this a generous university? Is it need away? Is it need blind for international students? Or is it just like we we want people who pay? I'm sorry, what is happening? Sorry. Financial aid forms. So yeah, CSS profile will be required by most private universities, whilst ISFA will be required by some schools instead of CSS profile. Both of them, you go to online and you type this, you find them. And then there are specific forms that a school might need you to have. So for financial aid, they'll need such things, tax returns, income letters, bank statements, family assets. You need to have all this information. I believe you can also, I spoke to someone recently about getting a lawyer and that a lawyer can do these documents for you. If you don't have like all the documents, like the actual documents, all of this, you can have such a legal document that shows that your family doesn't have, for example, if your parents are not working and they don't have bank statements, it's a unique case. So it's like something a conversation you'd probably have with your mentor if you are that student. And then building a smart college list, especially as a student who's looking for financial aid, is very important. So you need to consider if you have universities that need blind but will meet your full need away, but they can still fund you. And it's very important whilst you're considering applying to the United States, other locations outside of the US are a good thing to consider. So you don't have your eggs in one basket. And yeah, what can you do today? You can write down your story ideas, track activities. As I said earlier, you don't need 10 activities, even three is enough. Even if the third activity is that you're taking care of your younger siblings or that you are helping out at your family shop, it's still an activity. The first one could be that you are class monitor. Second one could be like you volunteered at your church. Then the third one could be the one that I mentioned. I've forgotten. So that's like some of the things you can do. And then important research schools that are aid friendly and to talk to mentors, very important. And I believe the final message is that your goal is not to impress every university. It's to help you find the right one, the right university that will understand you. And in this case, a university that will fund you. So yeah, you're not trying to impress them. You're trying to get into the university that where you thrive. Yeah. So I believe this brings us to the end of my presentation.